Hello, friends, and welcome back once again to Goonies World. I am always Meanie, also known as Ryan, and joining me, of course, as always, our Goonie, also known as Colin.
Hello there.
And Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean.
Hello, everyone, and if you're wondering why I'm speaking in an English accent, or reasonable facsimile thereof, it's because tonight we are going to merry old England, long in the past. No, in fact, we will be taking our annual December break after this episode, so we're going to leave you with a little Yuletide tale from long ago. And we do return to merry old England in the reign of King Richard II, who is generally not well thought of by his subjects, but he is anointed by God and therefore must be tolerated. And our characters are a falconer and a fool in the service of the great noble Lord Salisbury. And let's start off by introducing our falconer.
Well, do I have to go first?
Of course you have to go first.
All right then, fine. Well, my name's Addison Cooper, and I've got this bird. His name's Paul. And he'd like to hunt with him and get he's good at it, and I like he's nice, but he's really got really sharp claws and really sharp beak. He can like poke fangs and like stab little creatures with and stuff. And I got this glove also, of course, because I don't want him poking holes in my hands. Anyway, but I'm just a kind of I don't know. I'm a short little guy, scrawny but short, and just kind of mid to late 30s. Pretty old for the time, I suppose, but male pattern baldness, all my life, ever since I was about 12.
Charlie Brown.
Okay, well, we have a bit of Addison Cooper, our falconer, and let's hear about our fool.
Who you calling a fool? I'm a jester. Get it right. Yes, my name is, what is my name? Gregory Blake. And I'm a bleeding jester. And I'm real funny.
He's the funniest I've ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a jester, but Lord Salisbury saw me falling off my horse. He thought that was real funny. He said, "Oh, how would you like to be a jester and make me laugh all the time? Because you're so funny." And I said, "Oh, thank you, it'd be a great honor." And now here I am. I'm just a real funny guy.
What do you look like?
He's a big guy who would probably be pretty good at anything but gesturing, like fighting or even falconeering or whatever. Yeah, he's a big guy. Got a. I think I want to say he even has like a beard that could be like a pointy beard that could be that you would probably expect a falconer to have.
Well, it's funny, I can't even grow facial hair.
Now that is funny.
Well, and it's not funny because I can't grow it on my head either. I'm like one of those cats without any fur, I'm all wrinkly. Have you seen my balls?
No, I haven't seen your bullocks, and I don't want to.
Well, you guys are having this conversation as you're walking up a broad spiral stairway because you've been summoned to appear before the Lord Salisbury. And the Yuletide season is upon us, of course, and as you enter his chamber, you can see through his unglazed windows snow falling outside on the Salisbury plain. And there's a roaring fire in the fireplace. There's like some swords crossed on the walls and tapestries. And a few of the servants are trying to, the body servants of the Lord Salisbury, are trying to squeeze him into his tight leather hose. And the Lord Salisbury's a big guy. He's been successful in life. And He has a huge, like, walrus-style mustache and a great big spare tire around the middle. But when he sees you, he's like, oh! And he's just, get the bloody things off. And he's hoseless and wraps a blanket around himself and walks up to you and sits down by the fire. Doesn't tell you to sit down. In fact, there's no place for you to sit. But he sits by the fire and he's like, my falconer and my hilarious fool. I just love that dry wit. And so it's the best thing I ever did, taking you into my service. My good late wife did love you so as well, and always enjoyed gazing upon you. And all the times, my good falconer, Mr. Cooper, that we've spent together out on the moors and out on the plains with our birds. What good times. That's why I've called you here today. You know that you're among my most faithful of my household staff. And I have a very important mission for you. You know, as you know, our good King Richard II spends the Yuletide season on progress, where his court goes from noble castle to noble castle, you know, and entertains itself at the local noble's expense. This year, however, King Richard has chosen not to grace me with his presence. Oh, no. But no, he'll be staying with that rotten upstart, the Lord DeCoucey of Kent. Now, usually...
Oh, not the
Yes, DeCoucey himself. Very arrogant young man, very arrogant. And really makes me ill, sick to my stomach when I think of him. He's vacant, but never mind all that. He won't be a problem for long, because you're going to help me. Now, as you know, my good lady wife Elizabeth has died, and I am still a very virile man, he says, patting his great belly. And as you know, I've had my eye on the rather delectable sister of our king, the good Princess Mary. But so does DeCoucey, you see. We both fancy her. And now DeCoucey has the advantage of me. He'll enjoy her company at the Yuletide feast, playing the host, have a chance to impress the king, who is rather easily impressed just between the three of us. So this cannot be. I charge you, my faithful servants, with a noble quest. Now I'll be sending my man Lord Scrope to the feast to represent me. And you will go as his serving men to attend him there. Now, during the feast, you must see to it that Lord DeCoucey is embarrassed and shamed and degraded, so much so that King Richard would never consent for his sister to marry him. She will instead, of course, marry me, the only other suitable alternative. Now, although I would miss your company in my service, if you do this for me, then I shall enrich and ennoble you. I will make you knights of the realm, perhaps with your own bit of land. Huh? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but what's the part about your scrote?
No, Lord Scrope, of course, Scrope.
Oh, yeah, right,
Yes,
sorry.
Yes. One,
You're a funny guy.
yes, so funny, it's a wonder you're not the jester. But I'll tell you this. It's not like you have a choice. I'm your master, and I am ordering you on this quest. But I've been a kind master, I believe, and I'll be kinder still if you do this for me, as you will see. Now, I know Lord Scrope is not the most exciting... Lord Scrope, excuse me, is not the world's most exciting fellow, but he is my late wife's brother, and he will be of the appropriate social class to represent me at the feast. Please send word that I am down with the head cold, you see, and will be unable to attend. I wouldn't want to give His Majesty the sniffles. But DeCoucey must look like an ass. Is that understood?
Right, so is there any limitations on what you want us, to do to embarrass this gentleman?
My imagination knows no limitations, but certain practical matters should... I would hate to see either of you gentlemen endanger your immortal souls by committing any murder or maiming, such thing. No, I just want the man to look like an idiot, like an ass, like he can't control his own home. Something, I don't care what. You're resourceful fellows. Do I have to think of everything?
No, that's fine. Just are we going as like official representatives, and are we to be? Am I to be going as a jester?
Absolutely, you're yourselves. There's no cloak and dagger in business here. No, but you'll be, of course, serving Lord Scrope during the feast, which means you would stand behind him and wait upon him. But the Yuletide feast is usually quite gay, and many social inhibitions are let down. I do believe you will have the opportunity to mingle freely with the household staff and engage in conversations with your betters. Of course, you'll have to read the lay of the land when you get there. Now, I'm not sending a large detachment either, because I do not trust Lord Henry of Northumberland, and I will be, of course, marshalling most of my household knights here. However, we will send you with a wagon and my good driver, Mr. Goody. And Lord Scrope will, of course, ride in the wagon, and you two should give him his privacy, along the way. It will take you a few days to reach Kent from here, but I would urge you to make all haste, and hopefully the roads are still clear. But do you have any...
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, my lord. I just concerned, perhaps, that DeCoucey might, he might think that you sent that you. Does he know that you fancied the princess?
I think everyone knows. Yes.
Well, I'm just concerned that he might think that you sent us to make him look stupid, and then he'll try to take revenge on you, and then it would make me very sad, and also it might be a Salisbury mistake.
Yes, I was waiting for that one. That was better than what I was imagining, though. Well, I'll tell you this. He will not be able to take his revenge so easily when I am brother-in-law to the king.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Right. Well, let's go then.
Yes, you should be on your way. I'll have Mr. Goody meet you down at the stables. Oh, yes. You'd perhaps better take those. And he points at the crossed swords on the wall. Just in case.
And now we're talking.
Just in case you're waylaid by bandits. However, it would be very bad form for you to wear them during the feast, not being members of the nobility. If you have a small knife about you, you could secrete that about your person, perhaps.
Well, they're gonna let Paul. Sorry, are they gonna let Paul in?
Oh yes, there will be many animals there. Dogs running about, men with their falcons. Well, all of whom will be very well. The falcons are generally very well behaved to these things, flying about the great hall, entertaining people with their beauty. Such fine and noble animals. I'm sure you agree, Mr. Cooper.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm not scared of them at all.
Well, I should hope not, being a falconer.
I wonder if I could train him to poop on DeCoucey's head. I'll work on that en route to Kent.
That sounds like a bloody good idea. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must squeeze my way into these hose and get about my business. That was unintentional, I assure you. Unintentional wordplay.
You sure you're not the jester?
All right, that's.
Oh, forgive
that's
me,
enough
my lord.
impertinence out of the both of you now. Get going. And with a clap of his hands, you're dismissed. And don't come back until DeCoucey is made to look like an idiot in front of the king.
Right. So where are we gonna ride? In a I assume there's like a carriage.
Yeah,
right?
it's a carriage, and it's of course they don't even have suspension and things like this in these days. But it's clearly intended that you would not ride inside. No, you would ride either on the bench with Mr. Goody. Or, I imagine you probably could be issued horses to ride alongside, would probably be the most realistic thing. And, of course, Lord Scrope, who you have to wait like a good quarter of an hour for while you're down there, so you have plenty of time to requisition some horses from the stable and get them ready for you to ride. You've got the swords that your lord gave you. And Lord Scrope does come down. He's very bleary-eyed. Looked like he's been awake all night and was not expecting this summons. But he is, as I said, Lord Salisbury's late wife's brother, and is widely known as not being very useful for any other purpose. And he's just here out of respect for the memory of, Lady Salisbury now. But, oh, yes, I see. Mr. Cooper and Mr. Blake. Yes. I'll be happy to travel in your company. Of course, I will need most of the interior to myself, but I see you have horses.
Yeah, we'll just ride the horses. It's fine.
No.
Don't worry about
I
us.
want to make sure you know what you're doing. You know how to serve a gentleman during a feast, yes?
Well,
yeah.
I don't. I mean, you just pour the wine and that, right? I mean, it's
Just do
not
what you're
very-
told. That's
yes,
right.
Except the trick is, if I have to tell you, it reflects badly on me, you see. As servants, you will automatically anticipate my wants and take care of them without me having to ask. Do you understand?
Well, it depends on how many wants are you gonna have to have, because we've got a job to do, and I'm a personal favorite of Lord Salisbury.
Oh, my, very nice.
He quite enjoys my humor.
Yeah.
So
I don't
got
think you're
to-
funny at all.
nah.
Oh, well, you don't know. Are you kidding me, right? He's the funniest bloody jester I've ever seen in my life.
But don't worry,
This guy.
my
thinks I'm
needs
funny.
will be minimal. Merely keep my wine glass full, and if there are any choice delectables that you see, you make sure my plate is full of them. And you laugh if I make a witty remark. But I will give you your freedom of movement. After I am served, please feel free to circulate. I am well aware of your mission.
Well, what's your favorite morsel? So I'll make sure to get it for
I'm
you.
quite fond of the quail. Any of those lovely little quails would be lovely if they're having them. Also, I do enjoy a good candied eel.
Right, quails and eels.
Yes. So, very well. Well, why do you keep me here waiting and waiting while you chit-chat and blather? Let's go. He claps his hands, and Mr. Goody opens the door for him, and Lord Scrope gets onto the coach, and Mr. Goody begins the long drive to Kent, and then I'll assume that you all ride along on horseback.
Well, yeah.
Now, it is snowing, like I said, but it's a gentle snow. It's not like a blizzard. And the snow hasn't had a chance to pile up too much. There's still tufts of grass and things like that in the snow. And you ride out of the Lord's Castle and down across a little brook, the bridge over it, and out onto the Salisbury Plain. It's a windy country, but there's not much wind now. It's almost like you're in a snow globe. With the snow, it's very beautiful. And every now and then you'll see fires in the distance. And of course you pass a few thieves, the corpses of thieves hanging naked from gallows on the road every now and then with a sign about how King Richard has done this. And you pass a few villages. In fact, the first night you stop in a little village and Lord Scrub complains about the accommodations. In the middle of the second day you pass Stonehenge, which is off to your left. The road goes down to the south of it and you can see it there. You could definitely believe the stories. The giants must have built it. There's no way anyone else could have put that up. It had to have been put together by giants in the past. And beyond that, you enter the forests of Kent, and the road plunges into the forest. There's still a few old-growth forests in England. There's this forest, this Kentish forest here. There's Sherwood Forest further north. But you ride into the forest, and the snow, of course, has picked up over, it's been going steadily, so it's definitely blanketing the ground now. You don't see only the tallest plants stretch out, through the snow. But the road is still quite easy to see because there's no trees. And you plunge into the forest, and you don't go far before an arrow just right into the coach, right in the seat next to Mr. Goody, who immediately stops. And you hear a voice, hold on there, from the forest. If you would be so good as to, you don't see anybody, right? If you would be so good as to lay your valuables out upon the road, you may keep your weapons for personal protection, of course, but tell whatever fancy gent or ladies in that coach to just drop their rings and the coins and the things like that out the door, yes? There's some good lads. Don't be silly. I have dozens and dozens of cutthroats covering you right now with their longbows.
Oh, shite. What are we going to do?
We can't abandon our mission.
And again, you don't see anybody. There's just this voice.
Well, I don't want to.
That's not gonna work.
Well, two men
We ain't got any valuables.
Two men step out, and they don't say anything, but they are burly-looking men. One of them's got a big scar across his face. The other one has a club foot because this is wrapped up in bandages. He's got one boot, but he still moves at a good clip. They both have arrows with their bows. They both have bows drawn, with arrows knocked, and that voice comes out again. Like I say, I don't rob servants. I'm only into robbing the rich. So if you wouldn't mind, just have whatever fellow or lady is riding in that coach there, just give them a little knock and have them drop their valuables just right out on the ground.
Oh, well, there's nobody in there. We're on a mission to relocate this to Kent for the king.
What?
It's empty.
There's
yeah.
a rustling in the woods, and a guy.
You can have a look.
There's a rustling in the
Have
woods.
a look for yourself.
A guy walks out. He's wearing this ridiculous hat and big ermine coat. Like he looks way too much money to be just hanging around in the woods. But he's a very tall fellow too. And there's a few more people that walk out, but there's nothing like dozens and dozens. And everyone but him, looks awful. But he goes, hello. Yes. Well, I'll just check this out myself. I suppose you've heard of me, Long Robin, and my gay highwaymen?
Have we?
No.
What? You've not heard of me?
Can't say that we have, no.
Well, I suppose it's not surprising. You see, I just got into robbing. Just started that recently. I say, have you ever done any robbing?
Of course not.
Oh, yes. Well, it could be very lucrative. At least I'm told so. My good cousin Loxley in the north. But let's just open this. Are you guys gonna let him go open the?
I'll let him walk over, and then I'm gonna just slash his fucking head off with my sword.
Okay. Well, he walks over to the door and reaches out to open it. But I assume you're still on horseback, right? Yeah. And so you amble over and slice his head off. Well, you try to. You hope you do. So, we're both going to roll a d12. We're both making act rolls. We're both rolling our act stat. It's an opposed roll, but he's just trying to dodge. He doesn't have a weapon drawn to attack you. But he got a 7, which fails for him anyway.
Well, and I rolled a 1.
Oh, well. You have wounded him. You haven't killed him yet. He's a major character, sort of. In his mind, anyway. But that hat comes right off, as well as just a big chunk of his scalp. He screams, cries out to the ground. All the other men, instead of attacking you, they all rush over to him, fall down. Oh, you, Lord, my hat, my head, he's crying. You bleeding idiot! You cut off my hair! You've robbed me of my hair! He begins to cry, and then you do hear about a half dozen bowstrings pulled back. Is there anything either of you can say to prevent them from loosing those bows?
Hey, maybe we can hire them for some help on our mission.
I don't have any money.
Well, this fellow inside does. We'll just have him. We'll just let him get robbed, but we'll say there's more if he can help us embarrass this DeCoucey guy.
Who's going to sew my head back on? There's a big flap of scalp hanging off. He's trying to put it back into place now.
Oh, that's nasty.
I've got
Well, sorry.
a good mind to just rob you anyway.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. There's a guy inside. He's got all kinds of rings. His pockets are lined with all sorts of gold, I bet. You could do well just by robbing him, but you could also get a lot more if you want to do a little favor for us.
What sort of a favor? And who's going to sew my head back on?
Yeah, we'll have the finest doctors in the world sew that scalp back on. But the favor would include embarrassing a fancy lord.
Oh, well, I'm afraid I'm not welcome in most of the fancy places, you see. I I was a fancy lord myself, but the king, damn his eyes, has disinherited me, which is why I've been forced to take up robbing. And, this hurts. My.
Well, maybe we could get him outside. You could just kill him. Because, we're supposed to do this kind of routine where we're embarrassing, but I don't understand why we just don't kill him. It'd be the easiest thing to do in the world.
Well, I don't know about killing. I mean, robbing, that's one thing. But I don't know about killing.
Well, okay, then rob him. Because I think that's embarrassing, right? To be robbed as a wealthy lad like that.
I think it is embarrassing to be robbed. And you know what? You're about to find that out. Men, let fly if they interfere. And he tries to open the door of the coach again. Do you want to stop him?
I mean, given what Gregory has just said, I don't think so.
Okay. He opens the coach door. All right, you, he says to Lord Scrope. I see you're prepared very well. And he comes out holding a small purse. Yes. You see, no one needed to die after all. We just done a little bit of robbing. Very well. Now, don't forget. Tell them who robbed you, Long Robin and his gay highwaymen. And now... Oh, this smarts. Don't touch it, he says to his men.
Well, I think we should change your name to Scalp Flap Robin.
And a few of his men laugh at me. He says, Shut up, all of you! All right, well, you've been warned. And he tries to melt back off into the forest, but...
You might get a hood to cover that up.
I heard that, he says. And once he's really far away, he goes, I'll have you know, Long Robin will have his revenge. Oh, my beautiful hair, my beautiful hair. Lord Scrope leans out of the coach. I just figured it was easier to give him a small purse with a ring or two in it. It was getting embarrassing for everyone.
Well, I'm sorry, my lord, I didn't know. I heard dozens of bowstrings come back, and I just,
No, I'm quite impressed with your martial prowess. A lesser man would have cut his head off. But to humiliate him such, that bodes very well for our mission. Of course, you can't scalp DeCoucey, much like yourself, he suffers from boldness. Before his time as well, this is what I've been told. All right, now enough wasted time. Let us move on. Lord Scrope claps his hands again, and Mr. Goody gets the coach going. And after your altercation with Long Robin, the rest of your journey passes without incident. And you can see in the distance DeCoucey's castle with its attendant village. And you ride over a brook, which is semi-frozen, but not all frozen. There are chunks of shit floating in it and other refuse. And a bridge goes over that little brook. And then you find yourself approaching the walls to DeCoucey's castle. They're only about 8 feet high. It wouldn't withstand like a serious siege, but the castle itself is a great 4-towered Norman keep. And the smell of the village hits you about 40 yards away as you go through the open gate. But there are many other carriages arriving as well, and there's just a flurry of activity in the courtyard as servants rush up. They're all wearing gold and purple uniforms. They rush up and take care of your horses and get you done off. Then the horses are rushed off to the stables. And Lord Scrope is, of course, much fussed over by the servants, and he's led in. You just follow along. There's not a lot you can do unless you'd like to try to break away and go explore the castle on your own. You are first whisked off to Lord Scrope's quarters, which are not impressive, almost insultingly so. It's almost as if he's purposely trying to insult Lord Salisbury by giving me, his representative, these mean rooms. Lord Scrope says to you after the servants have settled you.
Yeah, it looks like it to me too. I mean, My quarters are better than this, and I'm a peasant.
Yes, yes. Well, you're luckier than a peasant, of course. At least you need not toil in the fields and tear your hands, as so many of them do. But, anyway, I brought outfits for both of you. And he brings out green and scarlet uniforms. And I believe they should fit. These will, of course, now you'll want to wear your jester's bells and hat so that you are clearly known as a fool. But I will be it will reflect better upon me if you're wearing this uniform, the colors of my house.
Right, of course. Yes, I'm going to dress up as a jester, let everyone know what a fool I am, of course.
Yes, yes. And, of course, I will need your help getting ready, please, both of you. And he disrobes, and you guys have to, he just stands there and lets you put him into his clothes like a baby, you know. He holds his arms out, and you have to put one arm in, and that kind of thing, and button him up and dust him off, because you're here to serve him and be his servants. He didn't bring any others. Now, whether you actually do all that is up to you, but clearly that's what he's expecting.
Well, I'm not gonna not do it. I mean, that's what part of what we're here for.
That's right.
Anyway,
Good man, Mr. Cooper, leaping in, taking initiative like that. Yes, appreciate that. Well, I certainly hope that there's some delicious things to eat at this feast and some delicious entertainment. I've actually never seen our good King Richard in person, so I'm much looking forward to basking in his royal presence. But oh, yes, I can hear them now. There's a fanfare of trumpets that are announcing the feast, and it's darkening outside now. And then, it gets dark early this time of year. And you go through the broad hallways of the palace. Well, it's not a palace. It's a Norman keep. But it feels like a palace to you. And you suddenly come out into the gaily decorated hall, the great hall of Lord DeCoucey, and there's an elevated table down at one end under the huge tapestry. It's a tapestry of the Iliad, a popular subject at this time, of the big Trojan horse, outside the wall of Troy, and that's what's dominating the room. But there's also a huge fir tree that they've decorated with berries and candles. It's a great big Yuletide tree, and there's a huge open fireplace in the middle. So it's like a great bonfire in a stone ring in the center of the room, with the smoke just going up into the rafters far above. And, it's probably about the size of a high school gymnasium in here. There's about 100 people already in here at two long tables that are on either side of that central fire pit. And of course, the elevated table at the back just kind of crosses those like a T, And people are already squeezing in. And somebody announces, "Lord Scrope of Salisbury!" And there's some smattered applause as he is led to his seat at the table. Of course, DeCoucey himself and none of the people at the head table are there yet. But you do see a plate of candied eels nearby. It's being passed from hand to hand. It looks like they are almost all gone. Do either of you want to take quick action to secure the plate of candied eels?
Yeah, why don't you go and grab an eel real fast?
You want me to do it? Oh, all right then.
Yeah, go get one of those slimy eels before they're gone, and bring it over.
Well, and there's a servant, in the gold and purple uniform. He's holding the plate of candied eels over his head, but there is a rather heavy-set gentleman whose ancestry you do not know, who looks like he's just going to scoop them all onto the plate unless you can make an act roll and step in real quick.
Well, I'll make it try. I rolled right on it. It was 7.
Oh, blast it, says the heavy-set gentleman. Oh, I do so love those candied eels.
Well, so does my lord, and he will have to get some for him.
No, who's your lord? Lord? Is that your lord, Lord Scrope?
Scrope, yeah.
Oh, well, I knew his beloved dear sister, so I suppose I suppose he should have his candied eels. It's not like they won't be bringing out candied eels all evening. Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you for those candied eels. Very quick thinking, yes, says Lord Scrope.
Sure, my lord. Anything for you,
Yes,
my lord?
fill my wine glass then. Fill it, quickly.
All right, then I'll fill it
Yes, fill it up, varlet, or you should be punished. Just doing that for effect, he says. At any rate, soon enough, there's another fanfare of trumpets, and the Lord DeCoucey himself walks in. He has a smug face. He just has a smug expression. There's no other way to put it. Sort of a half smile, like he knows something you don't. And he's wearing full ceremonial armor too, which is ridiculous. And it's all shiny, glinting, and in the firelight, throwing off sparkles. And he has a great cloth of gold cloak that he's wearing. And of course, he is, as you've heard, prematurely bald because he's maybe about 24 or 25, and very handsome. But he, of course, comes in without a lady because he's unmarried. And everyone in the place applauds as he enters. He waves and takes his seat at the high table. And he stands. Thank you, all of you, for coming to my humble feast. Yes, I'm so glad to see you. I'm very sad, though, that my good Lord Salisbury chose not to attend. Lord Scrope, why does Lord Salisbury not attend? But Lord Scrope has his mouth full of the candied eels. Do one of you guys want to answer instead?
Sorry. Excuse me. Apologies, my lord. Lord Salisbury's come down with a bit of a sniffle, and he didn't want to bring it into your court.
Oh, well, how sad that Lord Scrope needs his servants to do his explaining for him, but I guess that's...
Well, he's got his mouth.
I guess that's how they do things in Salisbury.
Well, no, but he did have, he's got these eels in his mouth. I don't think he didn't want to spit them across the room and tarnish your shiny armor.
Well, in that case, we thank him. And we thank you, impetuous servant. Now serve your master and cease speaking to your betters, he says. And you think, yeah, that guy is kind of an asshole. But he goes, now I will introduce some of our fine guests. This, of course, is the great Lord Bagot. And there's a man sitting there next to him at the head table now who's filed in from the end. This guy looks tough. And you've heard of Lord Bagot. He fought in France, and he's got an eye patch, steel gray hair and beard, wears all black. And he's clearly sitting in a, right-hand man status to Lord DeCoucey. And my good sister, Lady Jane, he says, and she is as plain as he is handsome. And she has a terrible overbite as well, and no chin. And she looks very glum. There's another guy who's all neck fat. It's like a huge roll of neck fat with a tiny little face on top of it. He's wearing the white and red vestments of a high priest. And of course, the Archbishop Lawton Smiley of Canterbury, says DeCoucey, and introduces him. And without further ado, let us all fall upon our knees, says DeCoucey, and thank God for our gracious highness, Richard, the second of his name. And he falls to his knees, and of course everybody in the entire room better do so. And the doors are flung open, and a man walks in wearing a huge, long ermine robe. He has a kind of a Prince Valiant style bob, of sandy hair, and he looks like he's tried to grow a mustache and a beard, but he can't really, so it's just sort of some stubble, almost pubic, stubble on his lip and chin, a crown that seems a little too big for him. And there are two men. His robe is so long that he has two men carrying the back of it. And he sort of gives a half-hearted gesture with one hand And with him, of course, and with him, our good and beautiful Queen Isabella. And a woman comes in wearing all pink and gold gown. It's intricate, almost paisley cloth of gold on pink. And she says something in French. And a few of her ladies in waiting laugh, and they are seated, but she doesn't even sit on the same side of the table as the king. She sits on the other side of the table. The two men who carried the king's robe sit on either side of him. And yes, of course, the illustrious Sir Buck and Sir Futter introduces DeCoucey, indicating those gentlemen. And of course, gracing us with her beauty, as a rose graces a garden, is the lovely Princess Mary. And a very beautiful woman walks in. She sort of looks like King Richard, but she's a beloved delight to behold. She has the same sort of sandy hair, only with her it looks more like amber. Her eyes are flashing green, and every head in the place turns. And DeCoucey, of course, has selected a spot right next to him where she'll have to sit. It's the only one left. He's maneuvered it to where that's the only place she has left. And now, if the Archbishop Lawton Smiley would care to say a few words to begin our feast. And with some help from the servants, the Archbishop stands and begins to pray. And 32 minutes later, he sits down. And, let the feast begin, says Lord DeCoucey. And the food begins coming out, and now you guys can hang around here. You can go back into the kitchens. You can go wherever you want and do whatever you want, because metagamingly speaking, as the game master, I am done driving, and here are the keys. Tell me what you do.
All right. There's a lot of options here. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I had the idea about getting the bird, Paul to poop on him, but I couldn't figure out how to train a bird.
Oh, come on, you're supposed to be a... What do you mean you couldn't figure out how to train a bird?
Well, not to train him to have a shite. We're going to train him to hunt.
And you can't even do that right, I don't think. You're too scared of the bird.
I'm
You
not
can't show
scared.
fear.
I'm not scared of the bird, and just then, like, the bird, like, makes a falcon noise and like, flinches.
Let me give you some advice. The minute you show fear, that bird's gonna peck your eyes right out, or worse, it's gonna scrape its talons right across your face and rip it right off.
Ooh, that gives me an idea.
Hey there, yeah, now you're talking.
Well, as you guys are talking, you have a chance to look around the room a little bit. Now, all these great and noble people, yeah, they're wearing flashy clothes and they command everyone's attention. But much like Lord Scrope, behind each one of these people are servants like yourselves standing. And I want you guys both make think rolls just to see if there's any useful details you can glean from keeping your eye out on some of these servants at the head table.
Unfortunately, I failed with an 11.
You don't know shit.
I passed with a 5.
Well, you do notice that the servant who's serving DeCoucey and his sister, he steps back out of the firelight every now and then and pulls out a bottle. Looks like he's having himself a little illicit drink. And you also notice that Lord Futter, one of the two companions of the king, his hand is on the king's knee under the table, and that's perhaps of interest. And far off in the distance, you can hear somebody screaming in the kitchens. And you also notice that the queen's servant, he's a young gentleman, but every time she snaps her fingers at him, this look just passes over his face like he wants to strangle her. And finally, you do notice a guy sitting looking very glum by the fire. He's dressed as a fool as well. Only he's wearing like the full-on skin-tight, Harlequin-style fool's outfit, and he's holding his stomach and wincing. And that's just some more details, some more things to play with as you look around the room and think of what to do.
Now, which person does he serve?
Well, he's probably DeCoucey's fool. King has his own fool, but he might not travel with him. Yeah, but he's probably DeCoucey's house. Well, he is, because he's wearing the Harlequin outfit, but he probably has a tabard of purple and gold, just like all the rest of DeCoucey's servants.
But I did have an idea. Well, that other servant, the one that's having a drink.
nipping, having a nip.
Right. If we could encourage that a little bit more, get him nipping some more, then maybe we could get him to do something that would embarrass the Lord DeCoucey. Like we could get him alone, that servant, tell him something that his lord, wanted done, right? And he's drunk enough, he'll go for it. Something really embarrassing. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd just have him go and kick him right in the bullocks, but I don't think he'd go for that, no matter how drunk he is.
No, I don't think he would.
But if, he said, if he's got a spill or something, well, he wants his pants cleaned up or something, you send him over, he starts patting him down or something.
Oh, well, maybe if he gets drunk enough, he'll vomit right on his bald head.
Well, that's an
There's
idea.
plenty of spirits floating around. There's plenty of things to drink, plenty of bottles to use in that kind of plan, for sure.
But you're talking about Paul ripping my face off kind of made me want to, give it a go with seeing if I could do something with the bird, but I don't know.
Yeah, but it's got to be, see, we don't want to embarrass our Lord, of course. If it's, maybe if it's just some bird, maybe we get some other birds in here. You could train them to do something, Not poor Paul. Paul can be traced back to us. Or, maybe there's some other falconers in here we can look around and see.
Excuse me, my wine glass has been empty for 5 minutes, says Lord Scrobe.
Oh, pardon me. We were just discussing about the best way to serve you so we can go about our business.
Yes. Don't let me stop you in that, but we must keep up appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here, I'll pour you some more wine then, my lord.
Yes, thank you. Oh, hey, make a think roll again, both of you.
Fucking another 11.
Ooh, I got a 12.
Yeah, you guys don't. Shit. But so you're surprised because you hadn't really paid attention. You were talking to Lord Scrope. But I say, says Lord DeCoucey, stands up. It appears that my fool, Mr. Fidget Newton, who we all love and who King Richard so adores, has taken ill. It seems he's eaten too many oysters. But I guess that's sort of the jackass he is. Now I look around the room, and I notice that our good Lord Salisbury has seen fit to send his fool to our feast to serve Lord Scrope. Oh, fool! Yes, you! Well, you're strapping for a fool, aren't you?
Yeah, well, not all jesters are the same.
Why don't you come...
Some of us have respect.
Why don't you come out here into the firelight so we can all see you?
Yeah. All right. Sure.
All right, well, and this does create, so I didn't think of this, but this could be like a distraction type period as well here. If during this Addison wanted to do something, because right now all eyes are on the fool. And
You want me to entertain you? Like, you want some jokes? Everyone would like some jokes.
Well, I wonder if our good King Richard would like some jokes, he says. And the king stands up with, yes. In fact, he is quite a strapping man for a fool. I wonder what sort of jokes you have, fool, says the king. Entertain us, please.
All right, let me think of some jokes. Well, I don't know a lot, but I've heard some. So there was this young woman, right? She was pregnant, and she's about to give birth, right? So the midwife, she grabs a candle, brings it up close to, the secret area. You know what I mean? And to get a closer look and see if the baby's coming, right? And so the young woman, she says, you might want to also look on the other side, because my husband also has sometimes taken that road. You know what I mean? In the back.
Oh my, there's some shocked. But when you say that about the punchline, basically, King Richard just beams and he titters and he puts his hand up against his mouth like, oh, you're so naughty, he says. And back away indeed, he says, as he looks over at Lord Buck and Futter, his companions. And meanwhile, during this joke, what is it that Addison is doing? Are you just being entertained, or are you going to use the opportunity to make mischief?
Addison is going to go into the kitchen and try to find like a pantry type area and loose his falcon to surely there's got to be some rodents around.
Oh
right?
yeah, there's tons of rats everywhere. But when you walk into the kitchen, there's this huge, fat, loud, angry-looking, red-headed man who comes up. No, what are you doing in here? I am Master Gamba, and these kitchens are my domain. What is it you need? Some dainty for your lord, perhaps? Candy deals not candied enough?
No, I was just looking around, you know.
Well, it's not. It's hardly the place to satisfy your curiosity. Now, what can we do for you here?
Well, you've got a pantry with like dry goods.
Of course,
in
we
it.
do the finest pantry in all of Kent.
Well, could I have a look at it, please?
Oh, you'll be your own pantry. What is that? From your livery, I see you're with what, Lord Salisbury? I'm not up on my heraldry.
Yes, yeah, that's right, Lord Salisbury.
Well, I'm sure Lord Salisbury's pantry will look quite mean compared to Lord DeCoucey's pantry. If you must see, come this way. And you pass by some roaring fires and preparation tables. There's like dozens of servants in here prepping all kinds of things. And he flings open the door of the pantry proudly, and there's just shelf upon shelf upon shelf of delicious things to eat, and hanging meats and hams and sides of beef and barrels and what do you think of that?
Oh my God!
God, indeed, God himself would envy such a pantry.
Well, look, if you've got oats and you've got barley, you've got Lord Salisbury. It puts him to shame, and he's gonna walk in and just pretend to be looking around in awe.
Okay, I like that. And while he's doing that, so says King Richard to you, Mr. Blake. So, do you have any other naughty jokes of a ribald nature?
Well, I think I could come up with some more, yeah. Let's see. So, there was a young Florentine. He was going down to the River Arno with a net to wash some wool, right? And he sees another young man down there, and that man asked, what you got that net for? And the other guy says, I'm going to the brothel, and I'm going to catch your mother. And then the other guy says, well, be careful, well, you might find yours there as well. His mom's a prostitute.
Yes. We were well aware of the subtext, says King Richard. I say, you are quite the funny fool. I wonder if you'd not come and become my fool. What would you say to that?
Well, yeah, are you talking about just for tonight, or are you talking about as a permanent thing?
Says Queen Isabella in French, and a few people who can speak French laugh, and the king grows a bit red. Well, perhaps after a personal interview with us, we can see if you are worthy to keep us entertained on the longer term.
I see you. You want to have an interview and check my qualifications.
Yes, your qualifications, yeah. What do you think, Lord Buck, Lord Futter? Do you think that he has the qualifications? Oh yes, indeed, my lord. He has quite the qualifications. Oh yes, he's very well qualified. Says Queen Isabella, and again, there's more laughter. And let's go back to the pantry.
All right. Well, my intention was to, get somewhat out of sight. I mean, not completely, but or completely if that's possible. But just kind of looking around wide-eyed at all these, dry goods, and then just kind of like let the Falcon go find a rat.
Okay. And the Falcon goes straight to it now, and of course this is help because Master Gambon, he's in charge of the entire kitchens, and he's a perfectionist, and so he kind of leaves you, turns it back on you for a few minutes to go back. What are you doing? You're messing. You're ruining the candy on the candy deal, and runs back into the kitchens for a moment. And of course, there's rats in every castle, and especially down around the back end of the pantry. And your hawk, or your falcon, proudly brings back a nice fat rat too, big nasty black one with a pink tail, and yeah, it's almost the size of a meerkat, this thing. It's disgusting. And, of course, his neck is hanging there broken. And Paul drops him dutifully at your feet and then takes up his perch again on your gloved arm.
Well, I'm going to pocket said rat and sneak back out to the feast.
Okay. Well, let our fool come forward, says King Richard. And he beckons you to come up to the table right near him. And
Yes,
now
my
not
lord.
every, conversations go back to normal now. And so not everyone in the entire room is listening to this. And DeCoucey is like leaning over, trying to make witty, flirtatious comments to the king's sister. And he says, both Lord Buck and Lord Futter agree with us that you would definitely make a fine adornment to our household. You see, the good Queen Isabella and I do not see eye to eye on many factors. Oh, excuse me. We forgot the royal weave for that moment. But we don't see eye to eye on many factors. And I believe that you would be a fine distraction for the good Queen Isabella. I think that you would be a very time-consuming distraction for her. Leave me to my own entertainments. Do you know what I'm saying? Excuse me, we're forgetting the royal we. We're just a little bit tipsy. We started it like way early in the afternoon, says the king.
Yes, I can entertain for as long as you need, all night long. If
Exactly
need.
what I was going to suggest. I think that we see eye to eye, don't we? What was your name, fool?
It's Gregory Blake, at your
Oh,
service.
yes, I know you're at my service. And hopefully you'll be at the Queen's service soon enough. And I see, anyway, by this time, he says, we will talk to you later more about these things. And he
Yes,
gestures you away, and you get back to Lord Scrope just about the time that Addison is returning from the kitchens with the bulging pocket.
Want some more wine, sir?
Yes, thank you. Now you're getting the hang of it, says Scrope.
Yeah, but not for long. I'm moving up in
Oh.
the world. That's right. I'm making a... King's quite a fan of me already, and I'm gonna be the Queen is gonna be quite a fan of me as well.
Oh, really?
Huh. You'll see.
You know what they say about ambition? It killed the cat. Or am I mixing my metaphors again? Scrope.
I don't know. You might want to talk to Falconer about killing animals.
Where have you been? You smell of fresh bread, he says to Mr. Cooper.
I was just checking out the kitchen, you know. Just wanted to, you know, check out the kitchen and all. You know, because kitchen's, you know, the sort of center of the home, as they say.
Oh, you're boring me. I wish I hadn't asked, says Lord Scrope. Okay, and yeah, there you go. Meanwhile, you can tell by now that the marriage of King Richard and Queen Isabella is probably a loveless marriage. And now I don't know what that has to do with DeCoucey at all. But DeCoucey, still most of his attention, he's still leaning over, talking to the Princess Mary, but she doesn't look entirely enthused. She's smiling politely and nodding, but he's doing all the talking. And he's swinging his arm around at one point like he's telling about some battle he was in or something.
Where's Jane sitting?
She's sitting on the opposite side of Queen Isabella, closest to Queen Isabella, at the very end of the table, in fact. Jane being the plain sister of DeCoucey.
Right.
Plain Jane.
I'd like to go over to Jane.
Her eyes widen at the prospect of discussion with anyone, even a short, scrawny, balding servant.
Pardon the impertinence, milady, but never have my eyes landed upon such a beauty as you possess.
Oh, really? You flatter me, sir, she says.
Oh, your laugh is like hearing chimes on the wind.
Oh, my. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. And she stops and takes a sip of wine. You know, Queen Isabella's looking at you, too, like from a few seats away. Not interfering, but just giving you this her kind of look, you know. And, I see you in the service of Lord Salisbury, she says.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
I'm so happy for your flattery, but you know that I could never be with a man who's not a noble.
Yes, I know, milady. I know quite well, of course. And it does sadden me greatly. But I had to say something. I couldn't let my tongue be still.
I say there, chap, says the Lord DeCoucey.
Oh, yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
I see you have some interest in my good sister.
Oh, well, my lord, she is, of course, the most beautiful flower of a woman that I've ever laid eyes upon.
Oh, yes. Are you a poet, sir?
Well, I know I'm a falconer. You see, I got a bird on my hand.
Yes. I'm so surprised that my sister, as much as I love her, you say she's so beautiful, yet you say this in the presence of our beautiful queen and our beautiful princess.
Well, they're all fine too, but you know, her laugh. Can you not hear it?
Very well. You have my leave to socialize with this servant, he says to his sister, and he sits back down and whispers something that is probably supposed to be funny into Princess Mary's ears, but she rolls her eyeballs and takes a drink. And while you're doing that, what is Gregory Blake doing?
I think he's scheming, and I think more than anything, he wants to get rid of Lord. What's his face? The Scrope, whatever.
Lord Scrope.
Lord
yeah.
Scrope. But I think he'll join up back with the Falconer.
Yeah, and you guys are sort of now hovering down at that end of the table, the raised table. You made your way into being allowed to chit-chat with them, you know. through Gregory's conversations with King Richard and Addison's conversation with DeCoucey and the good Lady Jane. And so I'm really looking forward to see what happens with that rat. Something tells me I'll find out soon enough.
Quite, indeed. As having been granted permission to socialize with Jane. I mean, I assume these are like big long tables with like long benches.
The ones out in the room are, and this one probably has individual chairs though. But there are stools for a servant or something like that. You can easily pull up a stool, sit next to it.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to pull up a stool and sit next to her and continue socializing. Where is DeCoucey relative to where I'm sitting?
There's you, and then there's the Lady Jane, and then there's the Queen Isabella, and then there is the Princess Mary, and then there is DeCoucey, and then there is the King, and then there is Lord Bagot. No, DeCoucey, Bagot, King, Buck, and Futter. So he's like 3 or 4 people away from you. There are 3 ladies in between you and DeCoucey, 2 of whom are beautiful, and one of whom is... Tell me again now! Tell me again of my beauty!
Well, it's like a beautiful flower, like a daisy you are.
Hey, is there something wrong with you? Did you get poisoned or something? What's going on here? Oh, excuse me, my lady. Of course, I just want, let me talk to my servant here, my fellow servant.
Don't stay away very long.
Are you planning on diddling that thing? Is that you got an angle or something? You're gonna? Mate, I think you can do better.
No. What are you talking about? She's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Oh, now I think you've been given something. I don't know what's going on, but this thing is a barnyard animal.
No. Oh, well, I mean, maybe like a beautiful sheep or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, a different kind of beautiful, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I just think maybe you've got different tastes than me.
I think so. I think that's fair to say.
But that said, I was working an angle as well.
Are you gonna let me in?
Trying to get an angle to throw this rat onto DeCoucey's dinner plate.
All right. Throw a rat. Yeah, that might work. Yeah, maybe if you get a servant to do it or something. Get that drunk one.
Well, I don't want the servant to do it because the servant will then know who did it.
Not if he's drunk enough. Tell him it's a candied, something or other. Well, you know, these, us being lowly servants, we don't get to feast on these exotic animals. Who knows what these people eat?
Meanwhile, you can overhear DeCoucey. He's now talking about the siege of Harfleur in France, and he's bragging about how many people went down under his sword arm and how strong and brave and mighty he is, and so on and so forth. It's really irritating.
I got an idea. Could you go tell a particularly long joke as a distraction, so all eyes are on you, and then I'll just sneak over and plop it onto his plate.
I was thinking distraction too myself would be good.
Right. I think I got maybe one more joke in me. It's not particularly long. I can try to stretch it out.
I'm for it.
I think it'll be.
We are for it. So did I overhear you say you have another joke?
Yeah, it's a joke I ever heard once. I'd like to tell it. Sure.
Yeah. Do tell your funny joke. Come over here where we can all see you. And he has you come stand in front of the table. The entire place is not stopping to listen to you, but everyone at the head table will be, and all their eyes are on you, especially Queen Isabella's. King Richard knows she's got a type. She's looking at you from under heavy eyelids.
Right, Jane, let's listen to this great joke from the funniest fool who's ever lived.
All right, so there once was a bishop. He's an old bishop. He's lost a lot of his teeth, all right? And he tells his friend is also an old bishop. He tells him he's worried about losing more of his teeth because they're so loose, right? And the other bishop says, never fear. So he says, why not? And he says, because my bollocks have been hanging loose for the last 40 years and they haven't fallen off yet. Bollocks. Hey, you know what else I can do? I can do physical comedy too. About juggling. Juggle some balls. I need some balls first. Here's some balls. And I'm gonna punch DeCoucey in the balls.
I'm not going to make you roll for that either, because it's like such a surprise. And what do you do when that happens, or what?
So during the joke part, I was gonna first of all, I told Jane to pay attention so that she would be looking. Now, what I'm visualizing is that I'm kind of at one end of the table and DeCoucey's kind of this way, and the joke's being told, and all eyes are facing away from me.
That's exactly what it was.
Okay, good. So what I was gonna do was just get up from my spot and kind of back away a little bit and just take a couple steps up towards DeCoucey and just see if I could just wing this little dead rat onto his dinner plate.
Okay. Now, I don't know about the timing of this, though, in relation to the getting punched in the balls. So I'm just going to assume you hadn't quite gotten there yet, and the ball punch happens first.
Let's say because it would be funny if he gets punched in the balls and then he lurches.
Well, that's
forward
exactly what I'm picturing. First of all, the whole place is shocked. I mean, this is just absolutely unheard of. And of course, he's just been bragging about his mighty sword arm and so on and so forth. But you say balls, and you punch him right in the balls. The king bursts out in this titter of nervous laughter when this happens. The Princess Mary laughs really hard. But you'll remember the eye-patch, steely-haired Lord Baggett, who is DeCoucey's right-hand man. He leaps up and pulls out his blade. And then in the next millisecond, a rat lands on DeCoucey's plate. So first he's hitting the balls, and he's like, and sinks back into himself for a second, leans forward, and then the rat appears on his plate, and he emits this high-pitched little girl scream. He jumps up, he's waving his arms around. Even his own servants and people are laughing at him. There's laughter. The king puts his hand to his forehead and shakes his head sadly, and DeCoucey rushes out of the place. His servants rush up and get rid of the rat, but Lord Baggett leaps over the table and swings his sword at you, fool. And have at you, fool, he says. And both of you make act rolls. He's got a 6. You want lower than him. And he's a...
Do I need to roll 2?
No, he's just attacking the fool right now. In fact, you guys are on opposite sides of the table. You can consider yourself... Addison's behind the table, and Gregory is in front of the table. And like I say, he rolled a 6, but I'm giving him a 5 because he's got a better weapon than me.
I rolled a 2.
Well. You get to narrate how you wound him then.
Didn't you get the joke? It's about bullocks.
Stab him in the bullocks.
Well, he also screams. Okay, by this time, the household staff is the household knights, who were at the tables feasting, are now all standing up. But DeCoucey, he's been successfully humiliated. Princess Mary is laughing so hard she almost falls out of her chair. Even the king thinks it's funny. And as the guys all rush up with their swords drawn to stab you to death, because no, please do not stab our fool. He is quite hilarious, although he certainly cannot be allowed to strike with impunity his betters. But where is our Lord DeCoucey? What has happened to him? And of course, DeCoucey's run off, completely embarrassed. I suppose he hides somewhere in his castle. Then again, we would hate to see his sister live a lifetime of spinsterhood. Therefore, you two who have entertained me so well, please step forward. And it turns out you don't need to wait for Lord Salisbury to ennoble you. Because he takes out, Lord Futter hands Richard a sword, which is like way too heavy for him, And kneel before me, fool. Kneel before me, Falconer. I'm always forgetting the royal we. It's so preposterous.
Well, all right then. Sure.
Yes, my lord.
Fool, then I shall knight you, Sir Gregory of Blake. And he lays a sword on your shoulder. And you, sir, I shall knight you, Sir Addison of Cooper. And he lays his sword upon your shoulder. And now I do believe that to save the good Lady Jane from spinsterhood, that the Archbishop Lawton Smiley will be pleased to marry you right now in front of God and everyone.
Oh, amazing!
Married!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Married. Lady Jane says as she rushes down.
Oh, you want me to punch you in the balls too?
What? No, it
Numb 'em.
might make my erection go away.
God, what is wrong with you?
Oh, what was that joke about the bishop? I'll be giving her my bishop tonight. Oh, that's right.
Well, and the Archbishop Lawton Smiley begins his intonation of the wedding. Meanwhile, the Queen Isabella looks across the wedding and gives Gregory Blake a wink.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, even though I'm knighted now,
What I did was unacceptable and I should be punished. And I think the Queen is the person to do that.
Oh, so that's the lay of the land, says King Richard. You and I have more in common than I thought we did. And there's me forgetting the royal we again. And you know what? I think that's as good a place as any to go ahead and wrap up our Yuletide episode. Congratulations, you are minor nobles.
all right.
Bit of a season finale.
Yes, this is our season finale, and we'll be back in the icy age of January, where I'm just gonna say we're gonna play GURPS Ice Age starting next season.
Yes, and we want to thank you for sticking with us, and you are true fans, and we appreciate you listening to us, and we will see you next year.
See you in 2021.
It can't be any fucking worse than
No, it can't. Fuck you, 2020.
And good riddance.